So I recently started rollerblading with Jasper more, and he has been absolutely loving it. However, my buddy did tell me that for his dog, when they would go skateboarding, that their paws would get quite worn. Jasper, I'm trying to talk here. But anyway, so I got Jasper some boots, so we'll see how he does with them. Good job. All right, buddy, come here. Come here. Yeah, Jasper. Hi, come here. Jasper, hey, come here. Oh my goodness, he's not moving. Come here, buddy. Come here. Hi. Good job. Oh my. Okay, I need to tighten these. Yeah, let's go. Come here. Come here. You're doing so good, buddy. Yeah, good job. Hi. So that's definitely going to take a little bit for him to get used to it, but I think it's just going to be better, not only for rollerblading, but also when we go for hikes in the summertime. But yeah, that had nothing to do with the actual topic of this video, but I thought you guys want to see it because I thought it was pretty cute. But going back to this topic, I have tried a lot of zero waste swaps throughout my lifetime. Some of them are really, really great, and I've showcased them on my channel, but some of them just personally didn't work for me. I know some of the things on this list, like people swear by them and it's the only thing that they kind of go to, but I just wanted to give you my opinion and my reasoning so that if you guys are looking into these swaps, maybe do a little bit more research and possibly check out alternatives, just because, you know, for me, they just weren't the best. The very first one being mason jars as cups. Now, as storage containers, they're awesome. You know, you open a can of chickpeas or baked beans and you put the rest in here, screw the top, and you're good to go. It saves a lot of space. Plus, they can be used as, you know, cups. I've been using these as my main cups for the past, I don't know, 3 years. I started with 6 and now I am down to 1. I primarily use them as my cups and not as storage containers, but because they are so versatile, I've been using them. However, I do think that I'll be switching over or actually getting like an actual mug, because when I drink coffee, like a hot drink, coffee or tea, the glass gets really, really hot even at the top, so it's very difficult to touch. And when you place it down, if you place it down on like a weird angle on a hard surface, the glass just breaks just because it is very sensitive, whether it went from like hot to cold really quick. But I have had many of these break. Now, if you aren't exposing them to extreme temperatures, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. It's like any other glass Tupperware, but because they are used so frequently, I think that's the issue. Maybe it's the shape, whatever. But I'm definitely going to get myself a dedicated coffee mug because mason jars, as cool as they look, as functional as they are, they just aren't the best for hot drinks. The next thing on my list, I'm kind of torn about. Just because I really do support them, but it's just some of the items from the specialty bulk refill stores. And I'm not talking about like a bulk barn that is a generic kind of bulk store, but there are a lot of specialty zero waste stores that pop up, and I'm very thankful and grateful that I have, you know, a few zero waste stores in my area. However, some of like the bulk items are so overpriced compared to just like a regular bulk barn or regular, you know, grocery stores. For example, I got last time a bag of this size kind of filled with rice, and it was the same price as a bag of this size. Like, I am all for supporting local businesses and supporting zero waste stores and trying to reduce your waste, but when the disparity of price is that large, it's really, really difficult, especially for the amount of rice that I go through. It just wasn't a fiscally responsible decision for me to get this much of rice every, you know, week, sometimes a few days, depending on how much rice I was eating. But yeah, honestly, some of the things were just so freaking expensive, and I really did try to purchase a lot of like my pantry items, and I still purchase a lot of the pantry items from there, and as well as like my soaps, shampoos, refills, etc. But when it comes to some other things where I need like larger quantities and it is that expensive, it just makes it very difficult. Keep in mind, most zero waste stores, like specialty zero waste stores, cater to that like non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, free-range crowd, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that does tend to be a little bit more expensive. And for someone that doesn't necessarily care about those labels, it's just I don't know, I guess it comes down to personal choice. The next items on my list were in the washer for. That is because we're gonna be talking about bamboo toothbrushes and toothpaste tabs. I just found that the toothpaste tabs just didn't give me that same sensation of cleaning, and that may be very naive of me, and they may clean the same as, you know, traditional toothpaste. But personally for me, I just didn't want to risk, you know, when like charcoal toothpaste first came out, or like charcoal whatever, and everyone was like, oh my god, you gotta hop on charcoal, like charcoal everything. And then research has found that like, no, it doesn't really do anything in a toothpaste form. So I just want to make sure that, you know, the studies or whatever just becomes a bit more solidified before I actually switch over. So I just went back to my traditional toothpaste, as well as the bamboo toothbrushes. I'm a firm believer that the zero waste swaps should be equivalent or better than the regular what you use. And before, I just used to use like a regular, you know, electric toothbrush, and I can tell you that it just doesn't feel as clean when I did use my electric toothbrush. So I think once this starts kind of, you know, deteriorating, I think I'm gonna switch back to my electric toothbrush. I don't know if there are any brands that are a little bit more or less wasteful. If you guys know, let me know. But I wish there was a way that people could make like a compostable electric toothbrush head. Maybe I'm asking too much, but if you know of any, please let me know. But I don't know, some people swear by these, but personally, I just wasn't a big fan. And the final thing on my list are any type of specialty glass containers. I feel that a lot of the zero waste movement on social media, on Instagram, on Pinterest really glorify like the amber glass bottles, like over here, the mason jars, the really clean, white, brandless aesthetic. And I think a lot of people go for that because of the aesthetic, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there just is no real reason to get a jar like this, especially if you already have a glass jar like this. If you want to make it super aesthetic, just remove the label. But glass jars are expensive as hell. They are very, very heavy. In my previous apartment, I had these like long glass jars that I would like load up my pasta, coffee beans, etc. For coffee beans, it makes sense because you do need like a airtight seal. However, for like pasta, for rice, it doesn't really matter. You can just keep it in that same like cloth fiber bag and just use that instead. It's much lighter instead of taking like a bunch of jars to the zero waste store or bulk store. So just keep that in mind. Aesthetics is not the goal of zero waste. Just use your regular bottle and remove the label if you want. All right, so those were some of the zero waste swaps that didn't necessarily work for myself. Now, just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean it's not gonna work for you, but I think it's important that you find swaps that work for your lifestyle. Just because you see it on social media or Pinterest does not mean it's gonna work for you. Just because you see a perfectly organized pantry in these like nice glass jars doesn't mean it's gonna look like that for you. To be 100% honest, if you see those type of pantries, they almost always have the original container literally in a different pantry or like right behind it. It's just for the aesthetic, so just keep that in mind. Also, let me know in the comment section some of the zero waste swaps that didn't work for you, just so that other people can kind of, I don't know, explore and read up on why they didn't work for you, so that, you know, we can all work together and try to be less shitty. Other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends and family, and remember to be less shitty. Thanks, guys.